Hello, everybody. Um, Thank you for joining me tonight to talk to you guys about Serenity Dennard's story. I think it's a pretty disturbing and tragic story, but it needs to be told, and it's not solved yet. So I'm hoping that this will ignite some, I don't know, some more talk, some more people wanting to, find her. I don't understand how so many people involved, and nothing has come up. Anyways, before I get started, I just want to say to the chat, I'm not going to be able to pay attention at all to the chat until after I get just the gist of the story done and share a couple of the clips I created tonight for you. So I guess I'll just start with who is Serenity Dennard. Serenity is a little girl. She was born May 12, 2010 in Rapid City, South Dakota. She was born to Devin and Rihanna, Devin Green and Rihanna Root. Both of them were young lovers, young couple. I think they're both high school dropouts, but they did decide to have Serenity, and they had a healthy pregnancy, brought home Serenity, and co-parented together. Things were tough for them. They ended up struggling financially big time, especially the lack of education, not able to get employment, being young, and whatever, you know how it goes. Rihanna made a decision to steal, to shoplift for her baby's basic needs. I personally don't blame her. I think that a lot of people would do the same if they were in that position. And all I've seen is a lot of judgment on the internet about it, which is really gross. When I say that this woman paid the ultimate consequence and had the ultimate punishment, I can't overstate that enough. So Rihanna, so she got caught shoplifting some stuff for Serenity when she was 6 months old. She was arrested, booked in jail. She was not released on bail. The sentencing came up, and they sentenced her to 9 months in jail. During that time, Devin stepped up to the plate and became a single dad, basically. Fortunately for them, they did have a lot of support from their family. Devin's mom, his brother, Rihanna's parents. There's a lot of people involved that were really, really Team Serenity and loved her and really wanted to help make sure this family could stay together. Shortly thereafter, Devin was arrested and charged for possession of stolen property. What the stolen property was, I have no idea. It could have been the baby items that Rihanna had stolen. I am curious about that part. He was also booked in jail, but he did get bail. He went to trial and was found guilty, and I think he was sentenced to 5 years suspended sentence, from what I remember. However, he had to do 90 days in jail, which after the time he had spent before his pretrial custody or whatever, worked out to about 56 days. So if you think about that, 56 days, it's less than 2 months, okay? Serenity just had to be cared for by her grandparents for 2 months. Sadly, though, that is not what happened. Serenity's biological grandmother, Devin's mom, there was some sort of mental health issue that she had on Christmas Day. She had apparently was concerned about somebody trying to steal or harm Serenity, which is ironic when you think about the case that we're talking about today. DSS, Department of Social Services, I guess they call it out in South Dakota, they came out and evaluated the situation. This is Christmas Day, from what Devin had said, and they decided that Serenity needs to be apprehended and put into the care of the state. Devin panicked, obviously, was not okay with this, but there's nothing he'd do. He still had to finish serving his sentence. But while in jail, he did take parenting courses. So did Rihanna, by the way. They were both taking parenting courses and trying to do what they needed to do to get Serenity back. Unfortunately, when Devin got out, he struggled to find a home for him and Serenity because, his lack of employment, I guess, would have been one thing again. And his lack of housing history. Like he'd always just sort of, probably lived at home and then moved into Rihanna's parents or couch surfed or whatever. So he struggled to find a place. He still, during this time, was still doing the parenting courses and still jumping through all the social services hoops, going to the visits. And I'm pretty shocked and disgusted. The visits are 1 hour a week. I don't know how you can maintain a relationship with a child 1 hour a week. It's not a doctor's appointment, okay? It's like, this is your parent, this is your child, and I'm just blown away that the Department of Social Services did this to him. 1 hour a week. The visits were hard because obviously towards the end of the visit, Serenity would want Devin to take her home, and he couldn't. He had no control over that anymore. Towards, I guess, the end of it would have been probably 2013 or 14. I might have my dates. No, 2013. DSS decided they were not going to return Serenity, and she would be put up for adoption. Permanent ward of court. Yes, Devin did try to fight, but again, you need a lot of money to fight those things. And when the department says it's best interest of the child, no one's going to sit there and say, no, don't do that. But as you'll hear later on, this turned out to be the absolute worst decision ever. And I personally think that this was harsh and unnecessary. If you've got parents who are showing up and trying, that's all you really need. You just got to work with them. Anyways, poor Devin, he was granted one last visit with Serenity. And at that visit, he was given 10 minutes and a cue card to say goodbye to his daughter. And on that cue card, it told him ways to, say goodbye and let her know that it's okay. And she doesn't need to worry about him. And it's okay if she gets a new mom and dad. It's really disgusting. Disgusting situation. He did his 10 minutes, his 10-minute goodbye, and Rihanna did the same thing. They had separate visits, goodbye visits. Both of them were 10 minutes long. And then they never saw Serenity again. Serenity was placed, I think, into a children's home just pre-adoption. And lo and behold, this couple shows up wanting to adopt Serenity. The adoptive mother would be Darcy Dennard and Chad. Chad is the Serenity's adopted father. How they found Serenity, I think is disgusting. And I wish every single social services department would shut these down. We have them here in Alberta. We have them all over Canada. They are the websites with the adoptable children. It's not the SPCA. You should not be advertising children. You are not picking a child on Amazon. And a lot of people will say, oh, they have to jump through all these hoops. But when you hear that this couple managed to adopt after all these red flags, it is kind of like shopping from Amazon. Poor Serenity. So she got placed with the Dennards, and within a year, the Dennards got divorced, legally divorced, which means their marriage had already started breaking down prior to the adoption being finalized. So they knew they weren't stable. They knew they weren't staying together, but they still went through because they're selfish, and they went through and adopted this child. And I know some people out there are going to be like, well, that's not fair. Yeah, it is fair. You know the situation going on in your home. You know whether or not you should be going and getting a child who's had some trauma, who's already been ripped away from other people. And there's absolutely zero excuses in my book for Darcy or Chad to have adopted Serenity, to even have tried. They also had adopted another child, a little boy, shortly before they adopted Serenity. So I don't know what's going on in South Dakota. Are your standards that low? But they're really high for bio parents to keep their kids, but that low for someone to come in and adopt? There's so many red flags with that case. I don't understand how it happened. And sorry, but it really does bother me, especially with the outcome of the situation. I should pre-warn people that I sound probably pretty rude when I'm talking about Darcy. That's not my intent. I'm not here to make friends with Darcy either, though. I'm calling it the way I see it. And I know from experience, I'm adopted. I'm also labeled or diagnosed with RAD, which as an adult, I kind of call bullshit on a lot of it. I was also placed back in care after a dysfunctional couple adopted me. So I do feel very strongly about this stuff based on my own experiences, but I think if Chad and Darcy were ever honest, and I doubt they would ever admit it openly, but they should never have adopted Serenity. After Chad and Chad and Darcy got divorced, Chad moved away with Serenity. And as you'll hear, well, I don't know if I clipped that part, but there is an interview that Lynn Disanto, She did interviews with Darcy, the bio mom, and the bio dad. And Darcy says that she just lost contact with Chad and basically it was okay that Chad moved away. She seemed really casual about it, and it was really disgusting, to be honest with you. You adopted these kids. Now he's moved away and you're just cool with it because what? You don't have to put the work in? I don't understand that. Chad moves away, and Chad, being the genius that he is, takes these two children who have already gone through enough trauma and enough disruption in their lives, and he moves them in with another woman who he had been cheating on Darcy with. This woman's name is Cassandra. He moved these two kids in to her home with her children. That is a recipe for disaster on any normal fucking day of the week. It is not. It's even worse when you've got kids with attachment issues and trauma from their recent adoptions, okay? Anyways, he moved in with her. Red flags started to emerge right away with the schools. There was people reporting to DSS that they were concerned about Serenity. There was accusations of neglect, abuse, you name it. It was there. DSS did investigate some of the accusations, and it looked like they were validated. I would upload the court documents here, but I don't know how to do it on StreamYard, so I will put them up in the Real Alberta Housewives Facebook page, so you can look at them for yourself after. But some of the accusations are excessive time. Serenity was forced to stand in a corner for excessive time. She had a doorbell attached to her bedroom door so that they would know whenever she left her bedroom, and she was not allowed to leave her bedroom freely, like at all. She apparently had bedwetting problems, which is often a sign of trauma. Anyways, she had bedwetting problems. She was forced to wear a pull-up. She was forced into cold baths. She was forced to eat away from the family. She was denied winter gloves and snow pants as a punishment for losing a glove. I don't know. I've had 3 kids. I don't think I ever made it a week with one set of gloves. They always just lost them and you'd have to get new ones. And that's just the way it is. But of course, to Cassandra and Chad, no. That's Serenity being irresponsible, isn't it? So unfortunately, the school had to go and jump in and give her these clothing items. I'm not going to partake in the garbage that the mainstream media has put out there and some of the streamers have put out there. And I only think the streamers are putting this out there is because they don't know any different. But everyone says, well, because of Serenity's reactive attachment disorder, the RAD disorder, and because of her behaviors, she was placed back into Blackbald's Children's Home, which is a residential treatment center for behavior problems. Serenity may not have had so many behavior problems had her life been stable and had people who had adopted her not completely, their whole family just completely fell apart, and then they move her away again and move her in with somebody else who absolutely did not like her. Of course the kid's going to have some behavior problems. Are you kidding me? They moved her. Serenity was put into care, I think it was March 17th, from what I recall. And on February 3rd, that is when the worst thing that could possibly happen happened. February 3rd, 2019, Super Bowl Sunday, there was a blizzard in South Dakota. Bad, okay? Serenity apparently was playing in the gym with another little girl and had some plan set up with the little girl and had the other little girl distracting the staff. There's 2 staff on. I don't know what is true, obviously. While the other little girl distracted the staff, apparently Serenity just ran away without a coat into this blizzard. And when I show you on the map where this children's home is, you're going to be like, seems super legit, doesn't it? It isn't. That's why they've never found her body there. Serenity disappeared. She has never been found by tracking dogs. She's never been found by cadaver dogs. They've had multiple search units out there. They've had the teams, the drones. They've had those guys out there. They've had so many search teams out there. Nobody's found her. They haven't found a trace of clothing. It's because she's not there. She didn't run away the way they're saying. There's a lot of speculation of what happened. But how does this beautiful little girl just disappear and nobody knows? Nobody has a clue. As I carry on with the story, I should tell you that Chad and Cassandra's phones were never checked by police. They just completely accepted their story at face value, which I think is so unprofessional in this day and age. How hard would it have been for them to check their phones to see if there was any planning or plotting or anything? Chad and Cassandra are the ones who knew where she was. They put her at that children's home. Chad and Cassandra was sure not. You'll notice I don't have any clips of Cassandra in an interview. Why? Because Cassandra doesn't want to go on an interview. She knows it'll be picked apart, as it should be. Anyways, they haven't found a trace. There has been no tips. Nobody seems to know what's happening. And it seems like it's not just gone cold. It's just like done and nobody cares. But there's a few questions I have. And some of the questions I have are for staff at the I want to make sure I'm saying it. Black Hills Children's Home. Why hasn't any disgruntled past employees come forward and been a whistleblower for Serenity? How is it that it's so convenient that the 2 hours period, there was a 2 hour period where Serenity was missing, and it just so happened that your video surveillance was down? And then all of you are forced to sign non-disclosure agreements. And so not one of you has spoken out because you're all covering your own asses. Somebody knows something. As far as that little girl that was in the gym with her, she's 15 now, probably 15 or 16, because Serenity turns 15 on the 12th here. They need to go and talk to that little girl again and reinvestigate what happened that day. Did you have a secret? It's okay. Whatever. It doesn't matter. Somebody knows something. Okay. And the fact that they're all protecting themselves and protecting the state, because what? You don't want to be held responsible for making terrible, awful decisions? That's unacceptable. So that's basically the gist of it. I do want to show you really quick where this children's home is in South Dakota. I want you to picture it freezing in a blizzard. The blizzard was so bad they called off the searches. Okay. So if big men and dogs and stuff can't handle it, this little girl supposedly like outsmarted everybody and found a really good hole to hide in and died. Like, absolutely unrealistic. So have a look at this and in the chat here, you can tell me what you think in a second. Okay, there we go. Okay. So that is the children's home. I don't know which building she was in. Doesn't really matter, I don't think, because they sort of like the parking lot goes to both or whatever. But let's just zoom out and look at this. Where could she have gone? I need please. Did she I know there's got to be parents watching this. Have you ever had your kid where they're having a fit and they're not going to come inside and it's freezing out and whatever? Yeah, they last a few minutes, but they're not going to be like that stubborn that they're going to suffer in pain and cold. Yes, Chad said that she got lost after she enjoyed watching people look for her. She kept going farther and farther into the woods, and then she found somewhere to hide and died because of the cold. Like, God, you are not giving this child any credit, Chad, or the public. I mean, anybody who actually believes that's possible, and nobody's found anything since. I'm sorry, you need to rethink. You need to reevaluate the entire case. There is zero chances, in my opinion, that this child is anywhere out here. But you can tell it's also not it's not a high traffic area. So somebody had to know where she was and where she'd be, and that she'd be outside that building. That's the only thing possible, unless the staff, something tragic happened in there and the staff are covering it up for each other and they're going to take it to their grave, and Serenity ended up leaving in someone's trunk. I have no idea what happened, but I do know that she is not in those woods, and I would love to hear what you guys think. And before I go and open up the chat so that I can actually answer questions and you guys can tell me your theories, I do want to share with you 4 videos. They're not long. They are I clipped, I guess, the parts that I felt were most important from the interviews with bio mom, bio dad, adoptive mom, and adoptive dad. I'm going to show you I'm going to show you adopted dad and adopted mom's videos first. Just watch it and think of it. If you're a parent, I want you to watch it and tell me how you feel watching it. And then I will show you bio mom and bio dads who have had no contact with Serenity in the past, I think it would be 6 years. The past 6 years, they haven't had contact with her. But look at their emotions. It's unbelievable to me. So I will change this. Just one moment. Mm-hmm. Okay, let's go find the video. All right, we're going to start with Chad Dennard's video interview. He did this one with the news. He didn't interview with Lynn. I don't know why. He was probably intimidated. Didn't want to get asked tough questions because you can see he stutters and he gets nervous, and I don't know. As you can tell, I don't really like this man. But anyways, here you are.
Honest opinion is she ran away into the hills, and I feel that she liked to watch people search for her, and then they started getting closer and closer, and I think she just went farther into the woods and just got lost, is my honest opinion. The idea that somebody took Serenity, as a parent, I can't think that. I would hate to think that somebody took her and is harming her. I just cannot take that answer. That's not what happened. I can't think that somebody is harming her every day. No. Song comes on the radio, or you drive by something that you did with Serenity, or a song that Serenity would sing loud in the car, and it just takes you back, and it's hard every day. There's always something reminding you constantly of Serenity.
What do you miss the most about her, about Serenity?
Everything. Just everything. I would be here 2 hours explaining it. Just everything about her. Her smile when she walked into a room. She would always have to be the loudest one. When she walked in a room, she had to announce herself. The Serenity's here. She didn't hug people very much, but when she hugged you and she meant it, that was the world.
Okay, so there we have Chad's video. And we're going to go to Darcy's video. Now, again, I put a link to all of these videos in the description, so you should be able to find them and watch the full videos. Like Chad's is about 2 minutes and 30 seconds long. Darcy's was a lot longer, and the bio parents is a lot longer. So anyways, here is Darcy's video.
Tell me a little bit, how did you come to adopt Serenity?
I saw pictures of Serenity on a website that DSS uses for all their adoptive children. I ran across her picture and I thought, this has got to be my daughter. I just knew, I felt it in my heart that Serenity would be my daughter.
Now you mentioned Chad, so
Yes.
just to sort of clarify for people, Chad at this time was your husband.
Yes.
And was going to be, at the time we're talking about adopting Serenity also.
Yes.
Okay, so just to sort of paint the picture, so you guys ended up divorcing.
Yes.
And how many years was that from the time that you adopted Serenity until you ended up getting divorced from her father?
So she came to live with us March 30th of 2014. Her adoption was final October 23rd of 2014. And then we divorced in 2015,
Okay.
I believe.
So what did you know about Serenity's background when you adopted her? Were you given information about her biological parents and sort of her family situation prior to this?
A little bit. You know, we were provided all the court documents, files, and, you know, all of that about her birth parents. And we read through it, you know, somewhat, I guess. We didn't go through with a fine-tooth comb or anything. We knew that we didn't go through with a fine-tooth comb or anything. We didn't go through with a fine-tooth comb or anything.
Oops, sorry. Okay. So I'm sorry, but I'm not sure if any of you picked up on that. The most important decision you're making for yourself and supposedly a child, right? That you really want to, like, I don't know, you want to be their parents and you just want to make their life so good. You didn't go through those files with a fine-tooth comb. How absolutely irresponsible and lazy of you. Honestly. You don't get to get all that information given to you and then cry ignorant later. That's not how it works, Darcy. You're responsible. You guys made the choice to adopt. You found her, you picked her out, and you made a choice to adopt. Own it. Admit you fucked up. Admit you had no business adopting her. Apologize to her. Apologize to her family. Same with you, Chad. You're not off the hook at all. You made it even worse because you're disgusting. You cheated on your wife, and then you took your kids away from her to this other lovely lady. Oh, it just makes me so frustrated. I get so upset. And then after watching the bio parents videos, I want you to just watch real quick. I'm going to show you bio dads first, and then I'm going to show you Devin's first, and then I'm going to show you Rihanna's. It's night and day. And you can't tell me that these adoptive parents are as crushed as they should be. All right, here we are. Here, bio dad.
A small baby, or do you remember?
Medium size. She was 18 inches, 7 pounds, 5.8 ounces. Born late at night. Pretty healthy. It was a 12-hour labor, just over 12 hours.
Okay.
Not too bad, so.
Yeah, okay.
But pretty healthy.
Yeah. Rihanna becomes incarcerated.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so how old was Serenity when that happened?
She was about 6 months old. It was in November. I mean,
Sometimes.
I would have her the whole time, but I mean, help from grandparents and people that have had kids is always a plus.
Okay, very good. So were you at this point?
I got indicted for grand theft by receiving stolen property. So I ended up getting 5 years with 5 suspended, and I had to serve 90 days in the county jail, which I had already served part of that when I was initially arrested.
Okay, so while you were sitting that time, who was caring for Serenity at this time?
So at that time, it was my mother.
Okay.
And then John and Paula, Rihanna's parents, had come down and get her from New Underwood, back and forth. My dad and his girlfriend in New Underwood.
Okay. And were you talking to...
Visits 1 hour a week.
1 hour a week. Okay. These are supervised visits?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So were you on the path at that point to get her back? Is that what you believed?
Yeah, I was working towards it. And did that. We had one final visit, except it wasn't an hour, it was 10 minutes. And they give you a little cue card of things you're supposed to say.
What are some of the examples? I mean, I'm trying to imagine you have 10 minutes. It's your last visit with your child. What do they say you should say on the cue card?
They basically tell you that to tell your child that it's okay to love someone else, to kind of not worry about you, and it's okay to, you're going to have new parents, and in a much more kind of subtle way, but that's really
if
strong-willed,
Yeah.
determined, never gives up, always, and very, very smart, and a little thinker that can just sit back and look at something and figure it out.
Okay.
I know I made some bad decisions, but I also know if I'd have just asked more people for help. One of the big reasons I couldn't get her back is because I was someone who just got out of jail with no housing history. They don't usually rent to people on felony probation that don't have housing history. And I mean, I didn't really ask anybody, but they want you to do it on your own. That's the other thing about DSS, and I tried, I just couldn't do it.
Okay.
I love you. I miss you. I'm sorry that I made some mistakes to cause all this. But there's a lot of people, that want you home now. And a lot of people that are willing to fight, including me, everyone, all of your family. And we just hope that you're okay and safe.
Oops, sorry. Okay, guys. And here is Biomoms. This is a short one, but it's packed with so much emotion. It doesn't really matter.
At this point, you believe she's being held against her will.
Yeah,
Okay. How do you know she's alive?
I can feel it in my heart. She's my heartbeat. Like, I carried her in my belly for 9 months. I felt every kick. I was there when she took her first breath, and she's still breathing.
So it's a mother's intuition
Yeah.
that she's still alive.
It's my biggest fear. Like, I have to live with that every day, like wondering, like, did I make somebody mad? Did I do something wrong? And that's why, like, can I trade places if they have her?
Okay. So that's your fear. Some people are critical of you, as you know. Some people even sort of blame you for your choices and all those things. So to people that look at your story and say, well, if Rihanna had made better choices in her life, this wouldn't have happened, what would you like to say to those people?
I should have made better choices. But what put me in prison was going and trying to be able to feed my daughter in diapers. And was it wrong the way I did it? Absolutely. I regret it every day, but I'm not that person anymore.
Okay.
Somebody has her, and we're gonna find her.
Yes, yeah.
Okay. Ooh, I got goosebumps. I get goosebumps and I get emotional every time I see either of them talking. I do want to make it clear too to anybody watching that neither Rihanna or Devin ever had addiction issues or anything like that. While pregnant with Serenity, or when Serenity was born, or when they were caring for her. I have no idea what's happened in the future. I'm sure. I think Mom said she had some struggles after her mom died, but I mean, this woman's lost a lot. Anyways, I'm going to go to the chat now because I'm curious what people think. I want to know also what you guys think about how do you get this case. There we go. Sorry, guys. How do you think we get this case back where it's like front and center? Because right now there are some cases that never ever die. Like we've got that. What is it? Look at me, and I'm about to give one example, and I can't remember her name. Madeleine McCann. Dude, like they've already determined she's dead, but that case will never die. Same with John Renee Ramsey. Serenity Dennard is, she's so important. And I think it's disgusting that she was lost to the system and then lost by the system. And I think it's inexcusable. And I absolutely cannot believe no one's being held to account for it. So let's go look. Let's go look at the chitty chats. All right. Oh, Kim, nice to see you. Kim is from, this is Kim. She is from one of the admins from the Serenity Dennard Missing group. I put the link in that in the description so you guys can join that group. It's a good group. You can theorize. You don't get shut down because someone might get hurt feelings. I would have never lasted in that group this long. If people were like, oh, and don't say that. That might hurt someone's feelings. I don't care. I'm not here to make friends. I want to find this missing girl. And yeah, people's feelings are going to get hurt. Guess what? You lose a child. That happens. So there's that. So nice to see you, Kim. Thank you for coming. All right. I'm not sure if I can see any other message. Oh, can't do weird podcast, guys. Oh, yes. So there's a podcaster. I think it's the 411. He's the guy who believes a lot of these people are being abducted by aliens. And honestly, I was kind of open to his stuff until I heard that he thinks that there's nothing wrong with Serenity's step-parent or adoptive parents. That discredited him to me, to be honest with you. Oh, and I know someone here. Jenny Bear, nice to see you. Yes, Jenny knows too. Jenny knows the system just as much as me. You'd want to go out and find them, right? You wouldn't just, and imagine blaming the child. Like I think that she enjoyed being out there watching people look for her. It was freezing, Chad, you retard. She had no coat. Like I get so, clearly I get really upset about it. They do deserve answers. And guess what? They're never going to get their answers. I don't think so. I think this is going to be a cover up from start to finish. I don't know if Kim, are you still here? If you are here, I would love to send you a link. Just give me one sec, guys. I'm going to see if Kim will come on and talk. You don't have to show your face if you don't want to. Kim has been following this case since it happened. And I think it'd be good to get somebody who's been following it to come on. So just one moment. Let's see if I can send her a link. Shit. How do we do this, girls? Oh, right here. Copy. All right. Where are you, Kim? Mm-hmm. I don't know if she's going to see it. But if you want to come on, Kim, please do. There. Okay, we're going back. I'm sorry, guys. I'm not good at this part. Do you guys have any questions about this case at all? Yeah, our adoptive parents. So, Jenny, can I tell who you are? Can I not say who you are, really, but just tell like how we know each other? Is that okay? When I get permission, I will. So anybody who's watching who doesn't know, I used to work at Alberta Youth and Care and Custody Network. Anyways, I worked with youth in government care, and it was for youth in government care, run by youth in government care, and we just did a lot of advocacy, and that is how I know Miss Jenny. She came to Ottawa with us to the foster care convention, and Victoria too. Anyway, so Jenny knows. She knows what happens with these systems. They always have a big plan, and it's going to be this big, colorful final plan for these kids that they just take out of their homes. And I mean, we can look at people and say, yeah, you're neglecting your kid. But unless we're willing to offer to help them not neglect their kid, but like actually help them, right? So if, I don't know, if Rihanna had somebody bringing her diapers and formula, she wouldn't have gone out and stolen it, right? Maybe she would have stolen, who knows, but she wouldn't have stolen those items. And I don't think the consequence fit the crime for her. Rihanna, she was sentenced to 9 months in jail, but you know how long she served? 6 years. 6 years. Because she had she got caught with contraband, makeup. That is contraband. They added time to her sentence because she had makeup in her cell. She had chewing tobacco. They added a year to her sentence for that. And after a while, you imagine you've lost your kids. You have time being added to your sentence. You're going to give up. And it just, the whole thing makes me sad. I think we did lose Kim, probably because of me talking about Darcy that way. I'm sorry if it upset people, but it had to be said. I think it has to be said anyways. Well, I guess that's it. There's nobody else asking questions. I think that's the end of this stream. But I'm glad I got to get it out. I think it was important. And if you guys have any ideas of how to get this case some more attention again. Please, 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 I don't know, start doing something. Join the groups. I don't know. There's got to be something that can be done because Serenity deserves it, and so does her family. All right, you guys, I'm going to let you guys go. I'm going to say goodnight. I'm going to sign off, okay? Thanks for coming, Jenny. All right, goodbye.